how do we go from a good hook to a solid video? Because, not every video is
Mm.
perfect, but a pretty decent good video.
Yeah, really, really good question. I think it depends whether you're doing entertainment or education stuff.
Yeah.
Um, for me, the entertainment stuff, and this actually, like, obviously you've taken the course and you know about these like progression pointer things that I put at the top, where it's like basically highlighting before you've written the script the kind of emotions that you want the audience to feel, what progression looks like, what regression looks like, blah blah blah. And so that's really, really key for entertainment stuff, in my experience. Because like ultimately, I don't know, it could well be a lot of the time entertainment stuff. It's a specific person who you don't know going and doing cool things, and you need to give a reason why the audience cares. And often that means engaging them emotionally in some way. And so going from hook to the kind of first point, it's like it'll be engaging one of those emotions immediately and trying to, like, whatever that looks like, I'm thinking, right, if they've gotten through the hook, the next time people are going to go, it's like it's always between segments, essentially. So it's like, how can we engage one of those emotions quickly? What is that emotion? And how do we do that? And what it's kind of similar with educational stuff, but that's where I find because you do have that blank slate and you really can break it down quite mathematically into a structure. That's where, for me, it's like more time spent on the planning and thinking, what is the first logical thing they're going to need to understand for this, and can I make it something that has a really, really exciting mini payoff for them to get excited about. So I think that's kind of how I think about it. It's just like that first point, it's got to be immediately engaging. It's got to create some sort of emotion within them if it's an entertainment thing. And to the same, some extent, the same with educational stuff. It's got to like get them excited for, I'm going to learn this little thing in the next 30 seconds to a minute. Let's get going, kind of thing. But it's so hard to explain. If only I'd written a massive, massive manuscript on how I think about all this stuff. And if only my thoughts weren't changing constantly, and I feel already like, I need to update this. I need to change this. I think about this differently, blah, blah, blah. I guess the same as a writer. There's so much to think about all the time.
Yeah, trust me. Like, I'm just trying to get a daily writing practice in. So
Cool.
right now, just writing on video ideas I'm excited about. And I'm like, oh, this sounds like shit. And I have to like figure out how to, just what to get rid of and what to move around. But to be honest, just going with the flow, which for you, I can imagine is really hard to feel at this point, mainly because of let me know if I'm projecting, but just
Sure.
just all the successes, maybe you get freaked out sometimes and it's hard to just relax and go to where you started and just write something good, even if it's not perfect the first time.
I think I do have that a bit, because I'd like to, for ages, I've wanted to get back into doing my own YouTube stuff, but now it feels like there's this pressure that's built up because it's like, oh, he's the guy that wrote for Ali Abdaal and he professes he knows everything about script writing and he talks about retention all the time. Well, let's see your retention graphs. And so there's definitely some inertia created by that. But in terms of the client stuff, and I think just the longer you do it and the more people that pop up and say, oh, I started doing this thing you mentioned and now my end screen CTR has gone up by this much, and like, oh, best retention I've ever had. I don't know, it starts to sink in a bit. And when it's not my own stuff, the inertia, I think, gets less, blessedly. And, now, like, recently, I've done some consulting with, like bigger and bigger channels. I did with a channel that was 8 million. And then a few days later, I did one that was 10 million the other day. And in the build up to that, I was like, what do I like? I haven't run a 10 million sub channel. I've never written for a 10 million sub channel. But just the more you do it, the more you can just start, you almost see past that. And, it really helped to demystify Ali Abdaal type figures by spending time around them. And you learn that they're like figuring stuff out as well. And that kind of helps remove that imposter syndrome and makes it easier to be like, let's be analytical. What is the problem with this? Why am I bored? Because I am bored. Even though they've got 10 million subs, I'm bored. Why? So yeah, it really varies. But on my own stuff, there's a little bit of inertia left over.